Hello, students, and welcome to English Exegesis of John. I'm very excited to continue with you on your journey in the New Testament and in your journey of learning how to exegete and interpret biblical texts, and specifically in our case, the Gospel of John. So the purpose of this video is to for me to give you some important information about this class to make sure that I communicate those essential elements that I think are very important for your success in this class, and also to briefly walk you through the sort of format of our course page, which especially for distance students is going to be the central place where you are engaging all of the materials for this class. So let's start by looking at our course objectives. Everything in this class is geared towards these different objectives, from assignments to lectures to readings. They're all meant for you to accomplish one or more of these objectives during the course and once the course has finished. So once the course is done, you should be able to do all of these things if you have successfully completed the course. The first is to exegete particular passages from John, paying attention to the so-called three hermeneutical worlds: the world behind the text, the world of the text, and the world in front of the text. And this is really a transferable skill. After this class, you will know a lot of things about the Gospel of John, but you could replace from this objective from John with another New Testament book, from Romans, from Revelation, from the Gospel of Mark, or some other such, and be able to do this, that you are learning the skill of exegesis with respect to a specific text, but that skill of exegesis is going to be transferable to other New Testament and even also to other Old Testament texts. The second objective, which is also sort of part of exegeting a text, is identifying and articulating things that are central to your identity, your social location, context, and lived experiences, and thinking about and expressing how those affect your own interpretation of the New Testament text and John in particular. The third one here is really oriented to a certain genre of text, namely being able to utilize different biblical commentaries that adopt different kinds of perspectives. So you'll be engaging lots of different commentaries for this class, some of them required, and some of them we will all be reading the same one, some of them optional. You will serve as sort of the representative for your commentary. Reading commentaries is sort of commentaries are a unique genre of literature. They are not things that are meant to be read from page 1 to page, in some cases 900 in a serial manner. They are more like reference tools, and we are going to practice using them as reference tools so that you know how to reference them after you finish this class and after you finish your time at UDTS. Whether you go into preaching ministry, teaching, or whatever it might be, you will sort of have practice in the skill set of utilizing commentaries. And the fourth one here is unique to you as an English exegesis student as compared to a Greek exegesis student. As an English exegesis student, you are going to engage more scholarship on the Gospel of John than do Greek exegesis students. Greek exegesis students are going to be doing more work on Greek grammar and Greek utilizing Greek tools for the process of exegesis. And you are really going to focus more on Johannine scholarship, what other people are saying and have said about the Gospel of John. So, a couple different FYIs. Maybe I should have started with who I am. I know most of you already, and most of you know me already. We've probably had classes together and had the opportunity to be together in August intensives. But if you don't know me for some reason, and I don't know you yet for some reason, I very much look forward to getting to know you this semester. My name is Dr. Elder. That's the way that I prefer to be addressed as, and my preferred pronouns are he, him, and his. A couple of other notes about the class. First, if you are watching this video, you found your way to the YouTube link. I want to let you know sort of the reasons why I use YouTube as the host for our videos for this class. The first is that it allows for automatic closed captioning, which is really important for accessibility. So if you have not found the closed captioning button, somewhere down down here at the bottom of your screen, there is a little CC button. You push it and it will automatically give you a transcript of what I am saying. So that you can read what I'm saying and hear what I'm saying, which is important in the lecture videos because it gives you sort of multiple points of contact for remembering the things that are said. The second reason is that you can change the playback speed on YouTube. So if I'm moving too slow for you, you can move me up to 1.25, 1.5, or 2 times the speed that I normally speak at. And this allows you to sort of get through more material faster. Or in contrast, if I am moving too fast for you, you can slow me down and sort of give yourself a little bit more time and mental space as you engage these videos. And the last reason is for the purpose of bandwidth. We all have sort of different availability and accessibility with respect to the internet. So if you have limited bandwidth for one reason or another, you can lower the quality of the videos so that they sort of take up less of your bandwidth. You can do that again somewhere along here at the bottom. You can change the video quality. In contrast, if you do have sort of strong access to internet, you can up the quality to the highest level as well. And the last note, last general note about the class has to do with note taking. So I try to make everything available and accessible to you as a student from the front end. So all lecture notes, lecture slides are going to be posted with the lectures so that you have access to them and you can look at them as you engage the lecture. So there's sort of no surprises about what the content is that I'm trying to get you in those lecture videos. And the reason for that is that I don't really think of these lecture videos as content delivery methods. They are in part that. I am giving you information in these lecture videos, but I also think of them as ways for you to actively engage the material and prepare yourself to engage readings and assignments. So lectures, in my mind, are not necessarily repositories of information, but they are really these active endeavors where you are doing something. And so there will often be times, usually once per lecture, where I ask you to pause the video and do something. Get your brain and your body engaged in the material in some way. And I recognize that there is perhaps a temptation to skip over these lecture pauses and just get on to the next bit of content. And I would really respectfully ask you not to do that, because these lecture pauses are put in there intentionally to get you to engage the material in particular ways. And so to help you avoid the temptation of skipping over these lecture pauses, which I don't have any sort of accountability set up for. I'm not going to ask you to turn them in or anything like that. But so in order to help you avoid this temptation, we're going to do one of these lecture pauses right now, which is to create a document that is dedicated to them. So whether you want to do this digitally or physically is up to you. But I would ask you right now to go ahead and pause this video and either on your computer or physically finding a notebook and label the document something like Exegesis of John lecture pauses. So this could be a folder on your computer, or it could be a physical notebook that you write with Sharpie on. So go ahead, pause the video here and go ahead and do this. And we're going to use what you do in just one moment here. All right, so let's continue our lecture pause with this new document that you have, physical or electronic. I want you to do a compare and contrast of our sort of center image or artistic centerpiece for this class, which is Marc Chagall, one of my favorite artists of all time. His Crucifixion Jaune, Crucifixion in Yellow. I want you to read John chapter 19, which is part of the Gospel of John's account of the crucifixion, and look to see, as you sort of do a compare and contrast, what is present from Chagall's artistic rendering of the crucifixion from John chapter 19 and what is absent. And I should tell you from the beginning that this painting is not done on the basis of John chapter 19, but I think you will see that there are some elements that are reflected in the piece, and then there are some elements that are in the text that are not reflected there. So go ahead, pause the video, and in that notebook or in that file that you just created, list those things that are present in Chagall's piece from John and those things that are absent from John, or absent in Chagall's piece that are in John. All right, the reason that we do this is to really get you sort of primed for thinking about what exegesis is. One of the main things that we do in exegesis is do a close reading of text. And what you have just done here is to closely engage two texts, one an artistic piece and one a written piece. And doing this close reading is really sort of the core of exegesis. The observations that you make in doing the close reading might cause you to ask questions that you further engage. Another reason that I ask you to do this from the get-go is that sort of exegesis is often also a comparative project where you're comparing one text to another, seeing what's present, what is absent. So I want us to get started in this class by doing things, by practicing exegesis before we even define what exegesis is. So thank you for sort of entertaining me here, or entertaining the prompt here. And let's continue on talking about our class here. Oh, here I give you from the syllabus itself, our course description. So just a few comments on this piece. Marc Chagall is an Eastern European Jew. He lived through the Holocaust, and much of his work, his artistic work, is informed by the experience, one, of being a Jew in this Eastern European context and living through the Holocaust. And so we see this reflected in what is sort of his Christian-esque art. He has several paintings or several pieces on the crucifixion that meld together the biblical accounts and also elements from his own mind that come from his experience of living through the Holocaust. And so some of that is, you can see, even reflected in this piece here, the sort of dark lines, the stark contrast, the sort of flame looking like things going on in the bottom left hand corner here, the burning of a building perhaps. So these sort of Chagall's Jewishness interacts with his experience of Christianity in really complex and complicated ways. And this is going to be one of the themes, particularly for English exegesis students, is thinking about the Gospel of John's place within the history of Jewish-Christian relationships, both in the ancient world and in the modern world. So this is one of the many reasons that I have Chagall's piece as the artistic centerpiece for our class. So to totally shift gears, let's talk about what you might be most interested in with respect to the syllabus, namely, how do you get the grade you want to get in this class? So if you've taken a class with me before, you have some experience with specifications grading. This class will once again use specifications grading. What specifications grading is it's a sort of system of assessment by which we're trying to sort of remove numbers and scales from the system altogether, so that when I'm asking you to do an assignment, I'm asking you to meet certain specifications or objectives. And so long as you successfully meet those specifications or objectives, you pass that assignment. So you have to meet all of these specifications or objectives that are listed in the assignment prompt. And if you do that, you pass the assignment. If you do not do that, I will give you feedback on what specifications were not passed, why they were not passed, and you have the ability to sort of revise the assignment. So the idea is that you are sort of growing in your learning, that the assessment is not about telling you what you did wrong and not giving you an opportunity to change it, but to say maybe what you did wrong or what you could do better, and then asking you to change it so that you continue to improve your skills and your understandings. So another part of so that's the sort of the individual assignment part of specifications grading. Everything is pass fail, plus sign or minus sign. And your final grade in the class is not determined by sort of the weighted average of a number of different things, of the sort of all the different numbers you got on the different assignments, but it's based on how many things you successfully complete in different categories. So we have two categories for this class. The first is minor items. The second is major items. And here you can see from the syllabus how many minor items and how many major items you need to complete in each category to get the grade that you want to get in a class. And those numbers that are listed are the minimum for each one, and you have to meet both of those numbers, the number in each category, to get that grade. So for example, if you want to get a B, you have to complete 21 minor items and 4 major items. If you complete 4 major items but not 21 minor items, or only if you only get 20 minor items, then you will receive a B minus for the class. So minor items are going to come in a couple different forms. There are going to be at least 2 opportunities per week for these minor items, and in some weeks there will be more than 2 opportunities to get credit for minor items. So the first one, or the first sort of grouping of minor items, is going to be what I call course community engagement. This comes in 3 different forms. One is asynchronous discussion forums, and I will ask you to offer your posts by Sunday evening. This is a change from previous classes. By Sunday evenings, and respond to your peers by the next evening, by Monday evenings. So that's one way you can get a course community minor item each week in class. Another is a new sort of experiment that I am doing this semester called book clubs, where I've offered Zoom spaces. So I will have a Zoom link every week for you to engage your peers in a synchronous way, addressing certain questions or prompts from the week's material. These will not be spaces that I normally am in. That is to say, they're spaces for you to engage your peers without the professor looking over your shoulder, so that you have sort of a freedom of expression with respect to the content that you are engaging. I will ask you to fill out a brief little form sort of indicating that you have in fact attended the book club, if that is the way that you want to get a minor grade item with respect to the course community category for the week. And the last option is if you are a residential student. Attending a residential class gets you a minor grade item, and I do ask you to submit before the class a very brief assignment. That it'll vary from week to week what that assignment is, but it is going to be something that sort of serves as a springboard for the way that we engage the material in the class time that we have together. And then you'll see also here that I give you grace tokens that count for different things, a minor item or an extension, a 1-week extension on a major grade item. Another change, another sort of experiment that we are trying out, or I am trying out with you all, so that's the we there, is the sort of options-based approach to learning. So if you've taken classes with me in the past, you're familiar with the specs grading system, but you really needed to sort of do all of the things to be able to get whatever grade you wanted to get in the class. This semester, I've given you many more options. So for example, there are somewhere around 10 to 15 different major items that you might do throughout the course of the course. And depending on how many you successfully complete, that is going to be the grade that you get. So when we move over to the course page, I'll show you where you can find the instructions for all of these different major items. And you sort of pick and choose the ones that you are most interested in, the ones that are most relevant to the skill sets that you want to develop, and the items that work for your own schedule. So with this option-based approach, there's more options, there's more assignments than you need to do to achieve whatever grade you want to in a class. So when you see the list of assignments, don't think you have to do everything. And then at the bottom of this slide here, and this is again from the syllabus, you can write a final exegetical paper for this class. I know some students are very much enjoy writing papers and enjoy sort of engaging one idea and developing it throughout the course of the semester. If you would like to do that, you absolutely can. And because that's sort of even more major assignment, an exegetical paper will count for 3 major items at the end of the semester. All right, let's move on over to the course Moodle page. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So I can make a couple comments about, let's move this too. My apologies, I should have done this beforehand. Make a couple comments of the formatting here and some of the content that you're going to find on the course Moodle page. So at the top, you click here to send me an email. You click here to drop into my Zoom drop-in hours. So these are times where I will be waiting in front of Zoom for you to come in with your questions and concerns about the class. Our in-person meeting place and time is here. And then also a Zoom link for the weekly book club meeting. So this is all sort of go-to information. And each week is going to have 3 different, let's start with major assignment instructions and drop boxes. So you click on that little caret, it's going to give you a big, huge list of different assignments. And these are divided between English exegesis students, you all, and Greek exegesis students. And it's going to have the due date associated with it here as well. So you can click on each one of these and you will find the assignment instructions within them. So I encourage you to spend some time perusing these different assignment options and think about the ones that you might be most interested in completing for one reason or another. So within these drop boxes, you're going to have the instructions and you're going to have those specifications or objectives, the things you need to do to pass that assignment. I should also briefly note that I use the term assignment very sort of in a way loosely. It does not necessarily imply a written paper or something that is composed textually. So long as you are meeting the specifications of the assignment, you have creative liberty to engage these assignments in different kinds of ways. You might do an oral report, you might make a presentation on it. If you have any questions or any sort of thoughts about how you might engage the assignment in a non-written format, those are always options that are available to you. And then the same thing for Greek exegesis major assignments, which are of no relevance to you. So let's go ahead and close our caret here. Well, actually, before I do, this is where these drop boxes will sort of always live in Moodle. That is to say, I won't put particular drop boxes in the weeks that they are due. I will give you reminders when these major assignments are due, but you will always have to come up to this major assignment instructions and drop boxes folder to access these and to turn in these major assignments. So when it comes to each week is going to have 3 different sections, and only 2 of the 3 are going to be relevant to you. So as English exegesis students, you can generally avoid, you can always avoid the Greek exegesis section and just go ahead and click on the caret for English exegesis, and it will give you the different things that you will have for each week. And most weeks are going to look very similar to this. I sort of try and order things in the way in which I would hope that you would engage it. So starting at the top and moving downwards. So each week I'll give you a brief introduction to that week, what we're doing, what the objectives are, reminders of any assignments that might be due, and any sort of comments that I have that are of relevance to you. And then under lectures and readings, these arrows are going to drop down and give you links. So these are going to be YouTube links to these various lectures, and these are going to be links to PDFs where you can download the lecture slides. And then with respect to readings, if a reading is from a website or from a selection of a book that is not one of the required books, I will link it here. You can see that is the case with Dr. Ekaputra Tupamahu's reading for the week, and same with Dr. Angela and Parker's. And then when the readings are from the required text for the week, there are no links associated with them. They are just text format there. I will always also give you your sort of unique English exegesis grade item here. For this week, it is this first week is an English exegesis concept quiz, and I make some comments about that concept quiz. All quizzes will be, you'll be able to take as many times as you need to be able to pass it. But these are going to be based on lectures and readings. The next thing, last thing, in fact, to be aware of here is the other folder that will be of relevance to you. And this is the course community folder, where you might get your a minor item grade credit in the course community category. So as I said, there are 3 different ways that you can get these credits. One is discussion forums. And so this is if you want to do your engagement with your peers in an asynchronous way. There will always be a discussion forum where you can do that. Again, due dates are Sunday night for your initial post. Here is, again, the link for the book club. And each week I'll give you the prompt for that particular week to guide you in your peers' discussion. And here there will always be a Dropbox where you can self-assess your contribution to the book club. Essentially, it says, I attended the book club and I was a respectful member of the course community. If you are a residential student, I ask that you, and so also I should say that with respect to both of these drop boxes, there are attachments within them that you download, fill out, and then submit to the Dropbox. If you're a residential student, this is the Dropbox for your pre-class work, usually pretty short work that sometimes engages lecture pauses, sometimes engages something else, but really serves as a springboard for what we are doing. And then, last thing right here, because I want to end with the affirmation that if you have any questions or concerns, you should always ask them. There is never, ever a stupid question. You should always ask all of your questions. And the place that I would encourage you to first ask your questions, so long as it's not of a personal nature, is in this questions and curiosities forum. This is a public space where anyone can see the questions that are posed. You don't get credit for posing questions here, but it allows other people to see the question and the answer that I might give to you or one of your peers might give to you. So I ask that if you have an answer to someone else's question, you go ahead and answer that, because I'm not always available immediately to answer questions. So all that to say, if you have any questions about content, form, the processes of this class, go ahead and, if appropriate, if not too personal, post them here in the questions and curiosities forum. If they're of a more personal nature, feel free to move all the way up to the top here, click this link, and shoot me an email. Again, I'm looking forward to having you all in class and to learning with and from you during the course of this semester.